What up, what up? Let's see. Good here? You guys see me, hear me? Good? Fix my chair here. What's going on? Good people of the world. I'm glad to see a bunch of people here, even on a holiday. All right. You guys situated here. My computer, of course, decides to reset right before we do this, but it's all good. So I got, well, first things first, let me put up my, all right, perfect. Can you guys see my screen share? That's the most important thing. Why isn't my screen share? Overlay locked. 1 second, guys. Alright, so that's that mode. Haha! There we go. I got it. Alright, so as always, you guys can pop in with any questions. I got the chat box opened over here. So we're going to be running deals in real time. The YouTube live from Saturday cut in the replay. I was hoping to see how to build a list of properties going to auction in Florida to go after. If you can give me an example again. Yeah, that's actually what I'm going to do today. So we're probably going to go like 30, 45 minutes here today. I'm not so much going to be reviewing one particular deal. I'm actually going to show you a super easy, free way to build a list, one of my favorite all-time lists to go after, which is the auction list, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do it in a few different counties, all right? Specific to Florida, you can also copy this. Most counties in America have the same ability, all right? They all have auctions. Every state is a little bit different. For example, Florida is what's called a judicial state, which means that a judge must grant a foreclosure, okay? So there's a lawsuit process that happens, the list pendants, etc. We are also a tax deed state, so you could buy a property once the tax deed is sold. So that's property taxes, okay? Usually, you're not going to see one with the other, meaning a property usually is not going to go to tax deed sale and have a mortgage. If you do see one of those, then that's an awesome lead because that is called a zombie foreclosure, and that is great, all right? So, holiday, yes, MLK would have wanted it this way. I love it. I love it. Yes, he would. He was a hardworking man. That's what matters. Plus, I say that if you're not where you want to be in life, you shouldn't be having a holiday anyway, right? So, okay, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to use a simple county just to go through it real quick, and then I'll do some other ones, all right? So, again, we're going to build an auction list super quick. You do not need any money to do this. This is like a free resource, but I'm also going to go through what I look for, little tips and tricks, how to make sure that you look after the right property, right? How to underwrite some of those, and to make sure that you're going after a deal that has equity, all right? So let me clear this off and let me go here. So first thing I'm gonna look up is the foreclosure auction site, okay? So in this case, you can literally Google this, Miami-Dade, and you can sub in whatever county you want, okay? So Miami-Dade County, real foreclosure. It's called Real Foreclosure. That's the name of the app. If you wanted to do this like in a different county, I don't know. I'm just gonna look this up. Atlanta, Georgia, foreclosure. Oops, I can't spell today. Foreclosure auction. Okay, so don't go to auction.com. I would go here. You need to go to a government site. Okay, so this is where you would go. So somewhere on this site, there's going to be a link to those. Look, daily report. Oh, there you go. So that's one. Okay, and you can do this again. Oh, here we go. Fulton County. So, boom. Here's your sales list right here. Yay. So February 3rd, 2026. This is Fulton County, which I believe, again, Atlanta, Georgia County is Fulton County. Bam! See, I found that by mistake. So here's a bunch of properties, man. You can go after them. Obviously, you're gonna have to look up whether they have equity or not. How do you know that they have equity? I'll show you here in a second. All right, so let's go back here. So we're gonna go to Miami-Dade Real Foreclosure, okay? And here's the site. All right, so there is a login in any county, usually in all counties. They're free to make, guys, so it just takes like 2 minutes to make. So this is, fun fact by the way, this is also where you would go to bid on a live property. Meaning, like if I wanted to buy a property at auction, I would bid on this same site. Okay, so it's pretty cool. You can do this in your underwear at home. It's very, very easy, all right? So where I'm gonna go is, there's two ways to do this, and I'm gonna show you both ways, all right? Way number one, you can write this down. Way number one would be going back over the last 3 months, last 90 days, meaning I wanna know what didn't sell in December, because we're in January, right? December 25, November 25, October 25. Why would you want to do that, Will? Well, because a lot of the times, and you will see, and I'll show you here, a lot of the times auctions are stopped by bankruptcies. They're also stopped for a number of different reasons, but one of the main reasons that they get stopped is because the seller files for bankruptcy. A bankruptcy, by the way, stops everything. It's kind of like, think of like a bankruptcy, like a big timeout. And it basically does not allow the bank to foreclose on them, okay, for a time being. Now, there's ways to get them out of bankruptcy. That's a story and a lesson for another time. You just don't want to be going after a property that goes to bankruptcy yet. Why do I go back 3 months? Because a lot of the times, bankruptcies only buy sellers about 60 to 90 days. So what will happen is you'll have it's January, right? 26. You'll have a property from October of 25 that they filed for BK that now their bankruptcy is dismissed and they're coming back up for auction. You see? So that's the backwards way, looking back. The other way is looking forward. That's self-explanatory. We're going to go from January 19th, 2026, and we're going to look February and March. Okay? Why don't I go 3 months forward? Because a lot of the times by the third month, there's not enough that are scheduled yet, so it's not really going to be a good list. Everybody, does that make sense to everybody so far? Got a hot start here. All right. Guys, again, if you have any questions during this live, I will literally answer them live. Okay? So today's January 19th. All right? So there was no sale today because obviously it's a holiday. Tomorrow, already, might be a little bit too soon, but tomorrow you have 29 properties. Okay, we're just going to click into one of these. So you got 29, well, you got 56, 29 of which were postponed. Okay, so let's go back to the calendar. All right, so you see here, 29 is active, 56 are scheduled. Okay, TD means tax deed. FC means foreclosure. What does that mean? What's the difference? Foreclosure means that there was a mortgage, the bank is sending it to foreclosure and selling it so they can recoup their money. So there's a lender there. Tax deed means there was no mortgage 99.9% of the time. They just owe property taxes in the state of Florida. It's going to be more than 3 years. And now they're going to tax deed sale. Cool? Cool. Yup, taking massive notes. I love it. All right. So for the sake of argument, let's just go to the 20th, okay, tomorrow. So you have a bunch of properties here, all right? This, again, all counties in Florida are going to be signed by the same site, which is called Gantt Street. It's called by Real Auction now, but it used to be called Gantt Street. So they all look identical, okay? So this is going to start tomorrow at 9 a.m. So obviously it's a little too late. It's going to be highly unlikely that you're going to be able to stop this thing before tomorrow. However, though, as I'm going to go through it. Okay. If you click on any one of these, right, you notice these are the case numbers. So this is a 2017 case. So that means that this foreclosure has been going on for 9 years. That's why lenders hate Florida. Because we're a judicial state. Somebody can actually fight and kick the can down the road for 9 years, guys. Yes, I've bought them up to 15-year foreclosures. So what are we looking at here? Let me explain everything to you, okay? First of all, is it big enough for you guys to see? I think it should be. So the case number right here, first thing I'm gonna do is I wanna peek around, right? I wanna see what's up. I wanna see what's going on. So I'm gonna grab 2017, that was the case year. Here's the case number. CA, because it's always Circuit Civil in Florida. Boom. So now I've gotten the case number from the foreclosure auction tomorrow, and I've gone into the legal docket search. Now I'm looking up the case, the actual foreclosure case. Why? Because I just want to see. I want to see what's going on. Now, obviously, it's been closed because there's a mortgage foreclosure sale. Okay? This docket is going to be so long because it's been going on since 2017. So look at how much activity has been going on. All right? So it's fair to say that these sellers had their fair share of time for free at this property. Okay? They've been living for free for 9 years. God bless them. So, let me look up the final judgment, final disposition, boop, 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 boom, right here. Summary, final judgment. This is going to tell me how much was owed. As you can see here, the original principal was $150,000 as of 2017. Okay? This is a 2007 mortgage. Why? Because it tells me right here. And they accrued more in interest in the last 9 years. So that's why. Then all the legal fees, right? Escrow means the taxes, the insurance, all that kind of stuff. So they now owe a whopping $394,000. So we went from 150 to 395. Let's call it 395. Now the only other question that I have to ask to know whether I was going to go after this lead or not is there equity? Okay, I don't know yet. I'm going to assume that there's a little bit, right? Because I know this area fairly well, and it's in a great area. There's definitely got to be some. So look how cool this is, by the way. You could actually go like right to Google, and it has the little links, and it'll take you to the property. And this is the house. So definitely, this is why I always tell you guys, right? That the physical condition is one of the first things we look at. Does that house, I mean, first of all, the car could barely even see it because of the freaking tree. But does this house match a foreclosure that's going to auction in your mind? Yes or no? The physical condition of this house. Simple question. Go. Yes or no? Somebody give me a yes on the comments. Let's go. You need to wake up on MLK Day. Well, it must be my lag. I don't know. But the answer is yes, absolutely. Everything about this property shouts to me, this is a motivated seller. Or there's definitely some financial distress going on. Why? The fence is beat to shit. The driveway's beat to shit. There's prison bars all over the house. The roof looks like it's old as hell, right? It's all dirty. It definitely needs to be replaced. The fascia looks old. There's a truck parked there. There's an old abandoned utility shed or something back there, right? I mean, it's just, again and again, you have wall unit ACs right here, right? You do not have central AC. There's overgrown grass. There's a jungle growing back there. I can barely see the house from the front, right here. Like I can just tell you, there's tons of signs. There's probably like 7 or 8 that I just mentioned right now. Okay, so yeah, but they do have DirecTV, which is sick. They always have DirecTV for some reason. All right, that's for sure. All right, so that house again could have easily found that house driving for dollars, virtual driving for dollars. Okay, easy. So let's keep going. Let's grab the address over here. And let's go to my trusty app in RealFlow. I thought you'd like that one. By the way, is Legacy Ride? Is that Will? Is that who I think it is? I'm not sure. DirecTV for the win. They probably got the free DirecTV, if you know what I'm talking about. If you grew up in Miami, you know what that is. I used to have a cousin that worked for DirecTV. Used to like swipe the cards. All right. So here we go. They tried to list this property in 2023. Did not happen, right? You guys see what this house looked like in 2023? Big difference, right? 3 years. So this is what it looked like in 2023. What's up, Will? I thought it was you, man. I thought you'd find that funny. So we know that the final judgment, not the assessed value, the final judgment, you'll write that down, right? Write that down. You're gonna write down 394,988. Guys, we don't need to do a lot of math. We're just gonna go right through this because remember, you're just grabbing this list and you're trying to call them. These are highly motivated sellers. Sometimes they're gonna lie to you, sometimes they're not. So they're gonna tell you, no, everything's cool, right? You can hit them with the truth. Just say, hey, listen, I saw that there's an auction coming up. You know, I can help. You know, what, can you talk to me? You know, if you can be honest with me, I can help you. Okay, so we have a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,246 square feet. That is our subject, okay? So let's go close. You got a 4.2, 1,100 square feet, sold for 570. You got a 4.2, 1,100 square feet, sold for 580. You got another one that sold for, this is a 3.1, 3.1, 3.1, 3.1, all in the high 3s, low 4s. This house is for sure, as a 3.2, 1,200 square feet, I would say it's easily worth 550 to 570. Let's go with 550. So do you have enough equity? 394 minus 550. Last I checked, that was like 154 grand. Yes, you do. You do have enough equity, all right? Cool. So we got it. Now we know we can go after that, all right? Let's go to the next one. You can add to the watch list too if you want. Return to docket inventory. Here we go. Come on. We just got new internet at the office, and it hasn't been installed yet. And I can't wait for it to be installed because there's nothing that irks me more than internet going slow. Okay? So, alright, well, let's go back to the freaking calendar. I'm not gonna wait for this. Alright, back to this. Cool. We're back on the docket, alright? Let's keep looking. This is a good one. Right here. We can hear you, but it sounds like your mic is off, but the sound is coming from a different source. Really? Hold up. Stand by. What about now? What about now? Hello, hello? Is that better? I think I had the wrong mic on. That's on me, guys. Well, nonetheless, I hope that it was good. I hope you guys can hear me. So, can you guys hear me better now? Yeah, Anthony? Cool. That's better. Awesome. All right. Well, I hope you guys still heard me, though. That would suck if you couldn't. But you guys were giving me the right answer, so I think so. Let's look at this one. All right. Here's another trick. That's my bad. I appreciate that, bro. That was my bad. I had the camera mic, I guess, my computer mic, rather than this beautiful thing that my team got me. So here's a little trick. If the assessed value is higher than the final judgment, you definitely have enough equity. Okay, I'll say that again. So if the assessed value, this one right here, is higher than the final judgment, you definitely have enough equity. Why? Because assessed value is the tax assessed value. It is usually far below the market value. So if the final judgment is a lot beneath, it's beneath it a lot, then let's look at this one. This is a 2021 case. Now we figure out how much to offer to control the deed. Yep, that's right. So in this case, there's only 150K spread, so I'll kind of go through that. But this person can probably get 5 to 10 grand. That's about it. But I could just tell you the psychology behind this seller is going to be extremely difficult to negotiate with, because they feel like they won, right? They'll probably file for bankruptcy right before the auction tomorrow. I'm actually curious to see. But I'd rather get 5, 10 than nothing, right? The problem is that you're not going to be able to stop the auction. So that's the issue here. Let's keep going. So here's your foreclosure docket. This is Miami Shores. It's a really hot market. It has some good values. So let's copy that one and let's go to the street view on that one. See what it looks like. Oh. Guys, you see how the virtual driving for dollars is just never wrong? Do you see that? Like, you can't even, there's a house behind there, by the way. You can't even see, there's a car parked here, and clearly this is a driveway, but I can't get in between because the Google Maps didn't take a picture. You know
that this is a fucked up property because we can't even see it. So now I'm going to have to go up in the air to try to take a look at what the hell's going on back here. This thing is messed up. Look at the roof. Everybody, all her neighbors have nice barrel tile roofs, right? This thing is a flat roof piece of trash. Okay, it's distressed, it's distorted. There's a jungle growing everywhere. This is the main side of the road. Look how much brush in front of their home. I know Miami Shores, they definitely have code violations for overgrown grass and stuff like that. But again, what I'm proving to you is that the driving for dollars is never off on both counts. That other property looked like crap and it was going through foreclosure, and this one, you can't even see it and it's going through foreclosure, right? So it's the same commonality there. All right. Now let's see. Look at all these defendants. My God. You could also see who's been named in the lawsuit. Again, look, if I wanted to know, hey, does she have any heirs? Right here. Potential heir of Anne Mae Julia. Right? Michael Zulis, whatever his name is. Right? Is there an amount of equity we're looking for above a certain amount for us to go then after? You're looking to make at least 50 grand per deal. That's what I like to make. I think that's a good starting solid point. So if you can pick something up and the spread, and I'm talking about as is, I'm talking about fix and flip and doing work to it. I'm talking about selling it as is. So for example, on this deal over here, the one that we ran before, the amount owed was $394. Now keep in mind, we do not know yet if there's like other liens, if there's violations, right? But let's just keep it simple. Let's say what's owed to the bank and what I'm going to pay back is $394. And let's say I can give this seller, and the seller agrees to 10 grand for their deed. Again, just an arbitrary number. So I'm going to be all into this for $404. You guys follow me on that? Cool. Now let's say the as is, how I cash sales, I can sell this for $460. So 404 minus 460 gives me, that's how I know that I have enough equity. I would chase it down. Now, if that same deal is, hey, I got to get 3 heirs, the auction's coming up in the next couple days, and some of the heirs are on board, some are not on board, I got to do a probate, this and that, that's not going to be enough equity for me to do. Not at all. The juice is not worth the squeeze. So let's keep going. So you got all these people here. This is a mess. I can almost guarantee you this is a shit show of a probate situation. So let's go to the property appraiser. Also has a link for that, by the way. Boom! Dude, guys, I've been doing this too long, right? Here's the estate of. Okay, so here is Stuart J. Duffy died, unfortunately. He lived at the house, and now his family clearly